Confined Space Entry Training. Welcome to my HSE channel on YouTube. I share videos on health, safety, and the environment trainings. Subscribe and share for best practices on workplace safety, home safety, and more. HSE is crucial for our well-being and the environment. It promotes safety, awareness, and responsibility in all aspects of our lives. It prevents accidents, illnesses, and injuries, and creates a safer environment. Let's prioritize HSE and create a safer world. Subscribe and learn today. Training Outcome 1. Define a confined space. 2. Define a permit required confined space. 3. Be familiar with the OSHA standard and the basic elements of the standard. 4. Understand the hazards associated with confined spaces and how to detect them. 5. Understand how to control confined hazards. 6. Understand personal protective equipment. Definition of confined space. Confined space means a space that is large enough and so configured that an employee can bodily enter and perform assigned work, has a limited or restricted means for entry or exit, for example, tanks, vessels, silos, pits, vaults, hoppers, is not designed for continuous employee occupancy. All three of these must be met to deem a space confined. Confined space examples: 1. Small rooms, 2. Storage tanks, 3. Process tanks, 4. Pipelines, 5. Pits, 6. Sewers, 7. Tunnels, 8. Silos, 9. Vats, 10. Boilers, 11. Furnaces. Confined space hazards. Hazardous atmospheres. 1. Asphyxiating atmospheres, 2. Flammable atmospheres, 3. Toxic atmospheres. Oxygen deficient atmosphere means an atmosphere containing less than 19.5% oxygen by volume. Note: exposures to atmospheres containing 12% or less oxygen will bring about unconsciousness without warning and so quickly that individuals cannot help or protect themselves. Another hazardous gas that may build up in a confined space is carbon monoxide, CO. This gas, having the same density as air, is formed from incomplete combustion of organic materials such as wood, coal, gas, oil and gasoline. Properties of Colorado: 1. Colorless, odorless gas. 2. Slightly lighter than air. 3. Vapor density 0.97. 4. Chemical asphyxiate. Primary source: incomplete combustion of organic material. Gasoline fueled combustion engines. PEL equals 50 ppm TLV. TWA equals 25 ppm TLV, rail equals 35 ppm TLV, stale equals 200 ppm IDLH equals 1500 ppm BEI, 3.5% core, 20 ppm, end exhaled air, LEL equals 12.5%, UEL equals 74.2%. How hazards occur. 1. Previously stored products, chemicals. 2. Manufacturing processes. 3. Operations, work being performed. 4. Adjacent areas. 5. Atmospheric hazards. Definitions. 6. Vapor density: the weight of a flammable vapor compared to air. Air equals 1. Vapors with a high density are more dangerous and require better ventilation because they tend to flow along the flow and collect in low spots. PEL: the permissible exposure limit of a gas or vapor according to OSHA standards, expressed in parts of vapor per million parts of contaminated air. Many flammable and combustible liquids present an inhalation as well as a fire hazard. Confined space hazards. General hazards: 1. Electrical, 2. Mechanical, 3. Engulfment, 4. Entrapment. Nature of electrical injuries: the voltage of the circuit, the resistance of the person's body, the flow of current through the body, the circuit path through the body. Physical hazards: thermal effects, noise, vibration, structural, corrosives, thermal effects, heat stress, cold stress. Noise hazards: distraction, physical damage to ear, interference with communication, stress. Atmospheric monitoring. Follow some important steps and rules for atmospheric monitoring. Gas testing. The first rule to remember when monitoring a confined space is to monitor in the proper order. This means that at the very least you'll monitor for corrosively before you take simultaneous readings for other hazards. If your equipment can't take simultaneous readings, then monitor in the following order. First, monitor for corrosively, to protect your monitor from atmospheres that are too corrosive. Second, monitor for oxygen level, in order to be sure that you get an accurate flammability reading. Third, monitor for flammability, assuming that the presence of toxic gases has not already caused you any distress, and the threat of combustion is immediate. Finally, monitor for toxicity. Atmospheric monitoring. The second rule relates to vapor density gases that are heavier than air. Those with a vapor density greater than 1 will tend to lay low. Gases that are lighter than air, those with a vapor density less than 1, will tend to rise and accumulate in traps along the top of the space. Gases that weigh about the same as air, those with a vapor density of close to 1, tend to disperse within the atmosphere. Control of hazards. 1 Standard Safe Working Practice. 2 Permit to Work System (PTW). 3 Ventilation Isolation. 4 Authorized Entrant. 5 Attendant. 6 PPE. 7 Rescue and Emergency Plan. Basic Confined Space Entry Procedure. 1 All entry attendants must be fully qualified and trained to work in confined space. 2 Conduct pre-entry briefing and access to the confined space must be limited. Strict control of personnel entering a confined space shall be ensured by the use of appropriate barriers, warning tapes and notices. 3 At the entrance of each confined space a clear and conspicuous warning sign shall be posted, prohibiting unauthorized entry. 5 An identification or T-card system to a certain and in-out register shall be maintained. Who is in the confined space at any given time shall be followed in situations of high risk as identified by the specific risk assessment. Continuous breathing apparatus need to be used. 8 All personnel need to wear the correct pay mentioned in PTW. The use of tinted or darkened eye protection is prohibited in a confined space other than screens used in welding, cutting operation. Nine openings shall, so far as is reasonably practicable, not be obstructed by hoses, cables or ducting which may impede access. 10 Where practicable, 2 separate holes need to be used for cables and hoses etc. 11 Openings from top of the confined space shall be suitably protected to prevent fall of persons and loose objects into the confined space. 12 Competent person only allowed to monitor and replace the breathing air cylinders. 13 Safe means of access need to be provided by the supervisor to the entry of confined spaces and adequate space allowed for rescue arrangements. 14 Suitable lighting. Max 24 volts must be used to facilitate safe entry, egress and working within the confined space. 15 Additional gas monitors must be available within working crew. 16 Arrangement of emergency lighting where applicable or identified on the turret. Control of hazards. Ventilation. Ventilation normalizes the atmosphere by supplying clean air into the space or by exhausting contaminants, such as toxic or flammable gases, out of the space. Types of ventilation. Natural ventilation, mechanical supply ventilation, positive pressure, mechanical exhausting, negative pressure.
We all take the occasional shortcut in life. Whether driving a certain route to work to shorten our commute or crossing the street between intersections instead of using the crosswalk, we are always looking for a faster way to do things. However, taking shortcuts at work can increase risk exposure and undermine job safety policies set forth by the organization. Taking shortcuts on the job is a sign of poor safety culture. Employees are statistically 6 times more likely to experience an accident or injury as a result of unsafe behaviors, such as taking shortcuts, than unsafe working conditions. Examples of shortcut: working without a permit, use the wrong tool instead of going to fetch the right one, jump over pipeline instead of using ramp, lift too heavy load instead of getting extra help, use a grinder or cutter without wearing the face shield. Reasons for shortcut: shortcuts are actions that employees assume will save time and/or effort at the risk of being injured. Typically, individuals have both the knowledge and the control of an existing unsafe condition or action, but consciously choose to perform the action or ignore the condition. Employees take shortcuts for a variety of reasons, including: they are in a rush to get the job done due to project deadlines, changing work scope, meeting a quota, prioritizing production, running behind schedule, hurry to go home, getting non-functioning equipment and tools. They are unaware of the hazards associated with the task. They are experienced at their job and they are overconfident. They actively decide to ignore safety rules. Measure to change the shortcut behavior. Taking shortcuts is a bad habit that some employees fall into, but organizations can take measures to change this behavior, starting with promoting a strong safety culture to improve employees' attitude towards safety. Encourage open communication with employees about safety behaviors. Emphasize the organization's values of workplace safety and prioritize safety over speed. Point out job hazards so that employees are aware of their present dangers. Discipline employees who purposefully break rules and take shortcuts. Remind experienced employees to maintain their diligence in following safety procedures and not become overconfident. Empower employees to be accountable for their personal safety and that of their co-workers. Make sure that all necessary pay and other safety equipment are readily available. Provide adequate number of right tools and equipment. Always keep in mind when it comes to safety: no shortcut to safety. Shortcuts cut life short.
Introduction: hand injuries are common, and they can occur due to a variety of reasons. These injuries can range from minor cuts and bruises to severe fractures and dislocations, and they can cause a significant impact on a person's ability to perform daily activities. In this article, we will discuss the common causes of hand injuries, their symptoms, treatment options, and ways to prevent them. Causes of hand injuries. Hand injuries can occur due to various reasons, including accidents, Hand injuries are common in accidents such as falls, car accidents, and sports injuries. Workplace injuries. People who work in industries such as construction, manufacturing, and farming are more prone to hand injuries due to the nature of their work. Repetitive motion injuries. Certain activities that involve repetitive motions of the hand, such as typing, playing musical instruments, or using handheld tools, can cause hand injuries. Sports injuries. Sports such as basketball, football, and tennis can also cause hand injuries. Symptoms of hand injuries. Symptoms of hand injuries can vary depending on the severity and type of injury. Common symptoms include 1. Pain. 2. Swelling. 3. Redness. 4. Bruising. 5. Stiffness. 6. Numbness. 7. Tingling. Treatment of hand injuries. The treatment of hand injuries depends on the severity and type of injury. Treatment options include rest. Resting the affected hand can help reduce pain and swelling. Ice. Applying ice to the affected area can help reduce swelling. Compression. Wrapping the affected area with a bandage can help reduce swelling and provide support. Elevation. Elevating the affected hand can also help reduce swelling. Medication. Over-the-counter pain medication such as ibuprofen or acetaminophen can help reduce pain. Surgery. In severe cases, surgery may be necessary to repair the injured hand. Prevention of hand injuries. The following are some ways to prevent hand injuries. Use protective gear such as gloves and wrist guards when working with handheld tools or engaging in sports activities. Take frequent breaks when performing repetitive motions with your hands. Maintain proper posture when performing activities that require the use of your hands. Exercise regularly to improve hand strength and flexibility. Conclusion. Hand injuries can be painful and debilitating, and they can have a significant impact on a person's ability to perform daily activities. Understanding the causes, symptoms, and treatment options of hand injuries can help individuals take appropriate measures to prevent them. By following proper safety measures and taking good care of our hands, we can avoid these injuries and ensure optimal hand health.